Sir, do you live in the city of Waukesha?
I do.
Where were you living back on November 21st of 2021?
553 Elizabeth Street.
Were you living there, were you home there that afternoon and early evening, that Sunday afternoon?
I was.
Was anybody else home with you?
No.
Can you describe what that residence looks like? Is it a single-family house, multi-unit? What's it look like?
Yeah, it's
Overruled. He may answer.
it's a three or four bedroom house with 2 bathrooms. It's a Cape Cod style home, land and stone. It's got a 2.5 car garage.
Okay. Do you know what Aries Industries is?
Yeah.
Where is Aries Industries in relation to the house you're describing?
Objection leading.
Overruled. Witness may answer.
Yeah, Aries is right across the street from my house.
That afternoon, November 21st, were you aware that the Waukesha Christmas Parade was taking place?
Yes, I was aware of the parade.
Did you attend the parade?
No.
Did you watch the Packer game?
I did watch the Packer earlier that day, but I was watching the Chiefs-Cowboys game that evening.
Okay.
Or that, I think it was afternoon. I don't know exactly what time it was, but
Do you recall what happened at approximately 5 o'clock p.m. that day?
Objection leading.
Overruled. He may answer.
yeah. So earlier that day, I was in my hometown, Prairie du Chien, for deer season, and then I drove back to Waukesha. I got home in Waukesha, my home in Waukesha, around 4 o'clock, and was watching the game. And then about 5 o'clock, my Ring doorbell goes off. And then there's a gentleman at my front porch knocking on the door saying that they're homeless, they're cold, and they need to use my phone so that they can tell their Uber where to pick them up.
What did that gentleman look like?
He was African American. He had long hair and a beard.
Do you remember what he was wearing?
Yeah, he had a red T-shirt, reddish orange T-shirt, and no shoes on, pants. But I remember it stood out to me because it was cold and really windy that day, and he was outside with a T-shirt and no shoes and saying he's really cold. So that stood out.
You mentioned a few moments ago your Ring doorbell. Is that a device affixed to your exterior door frame?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
It's fixed to the outside of my porch, so not quite on the door, but just next door to the door. Yeah.
Okay. And does that capture video?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Yes.
What about audio?
Yes.
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Did your Ring video doorbell capture the video and audio of your initial interaction with that gentleman on the afternoon of November 21st?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
The Ring doorbell, when it senses motion, it takes a 20-second snippet, and the 20 seconds that I got from the initial interaction was just the suspect coming up to my house and knocking on the door and saying he's homeless and needs help. I didn't get the verbal interaction that I had with him on the Ring doorbell because it only filmed 20 seconds.
After the fact, so later that evening, did you speak with law enforcement?
Yes.
And did you subsequently at some point provide that 20-second Ring video doorbell clip to a law enforcement officer?
Yes.
Did you edit it in any way before sending it?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
No, and there was 4 or 5 different snippets, not just the one 20-second snippet. So there was one, the initial interaction of him coming to the door, and then there was another one of him leaving, and then an interaction there, and then the police coming to the door and him asking to come back inside the house when I wouldn't let him in. So there's 4 clips that I submitted, 4 or 5 that I submitted to the police.
All right, let's work our way through those. Let's
Yeah.
start, Your Honor. I'd ask that we please show exhibit number 75 for the witness only.
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled.
Do you see a video on the screen in front of you?
I do.
What are we looking at here?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
This is Mr. Brooks coming up to my door.
You said Mr. Brooks. Did you know his name at that time?
Not at the time, no.
When did you learn that name? Approximately?
The officers were using it after the fact, so I don't know, about 5:30 or so that day.
Okay. Does this appear to accurately depict your front porch as it looked as that subject walked up to your door?
Yes.
And this is the video you sent to law enforcement that night, or sometime after that night?
Yes.
Move Exhibit 75 into evidence and ask to publish.
Objection.
Exhibit 75 is received permission to publish. Granted.
Objection.
It's noted. Overruled.
As we're waiting for that to pop up in the jury box on their screens, I'll ask you, Mr. Ryder, do you see a date and timestamp on the bottom right-hand corner of this video?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
I do.
Is that a timestamp that's a feature of Ring, or was that added after the fact?
Objection.
Overruled.
It's a feature of Ring. I didn't add that, yeah.
And to your knowledge, does that timestamp appear to be accurate?
Objection.
Overruled.
Speculative.
Yes, that is accurate.
For the record, the objection was overruled.
This is a 20-second clip. I'm going to ask that we play it once with audio.
Hey, I called an Uber and I'm supposed to be waiting for it over here, but I don't know when it's coming. Can you call it for me, please? I'm homeless.
Can we pull that back up just to look at the timestamp one more time? Thank you. And just for those of us with not the greatest eyesight, would you mind reading that timestamp on the bottom right hand at the beginning of this exhibit?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Yeah, it says November 21st, 2021, and the timestamp says 17:01, so 5:01 p.m.
Okay. The voice we heard in that exhibit that we just played, whose voice is that?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Objection.
You may answer, sir.
It's Mr. Brooks's voice.
It's not yours.
No.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd ask that Mr. Brooks please be instructed to remove his face mask momentarily.
Sir, would you please remove your face mask and face the witness?
Was that a question of...
The state's asked, sir, please remove your face mask and face the
I'm
witness.
I'm confused. He made a statement about voice.
The question's been asked and answered. Please remove your mask.
What was the question?
Please remove your mask and face the witness.
Mr. Ryder, do you see the person depicted in exhibit number 75 in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you identify him for us by telling us where he's sitting and what he's wearing?
He's sitting at the table right there wearing a black suit and a gray striped tie.
I'd ask the record reflect that the witness has identified Mr. Brooks.
The record will reflect that the witness has identified the defendant as the person depicted in this video and the person who was on his porch on November 21.
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name for the record.
Go ahead, your next question, please.
Thank you. What happened in the moments after this video, the 20 seconds that were captured?
So he was on my porch for, I don't know exactly, a minute maybe, and he was telling me the interaction, or he was telling me that he needed to use my phone to let his Uber know where to pick him up, and that he was homeless and cold, and he said he didn't have any weapons or anything on him, and he lifted his shirt real quick, and I was like, no, it's okay, you can use my phone, and I let him come inside and warm up. I just tend to believe people, and I'm from a small town, and we had people that need help all the time because we live right off a highway, so I'm used to, didn't faze me too much. I mean, I was nervous for sure, but I was like, yeah, I can let you use my phone. And he made it sound like the Uber was going to be here just any second, just needed to know where to pick him up. So I said, yeah, you can come and warm up while you wait for the Uber. And I let him sit on the couch right by the window out front. I said, you can look out here waiting for your Uber. And he's on the phone most of the time after that with his mom. And he's saying the address 553 Elizabeth Street is where it needs to come, and how far away is it, kind of things like that. But
Okay.
I guess is that what you're wondering, or?
Let me back up.
Yeah.
You made a motion with your hands there regarding what Mr. Brooks said about not being armed. You do that again, just for anybody who missed it?
Objection. I don't know. Not consent
use
to
your-
being called that name.
Go ahead and answer
Again,
the
for the
question.
record.
Yeah, so I don't remember exactly what the motion was. I remember him saying he didn't have any weapons and he's not dangerous. And I think he lifted his shirt really quickly. But then I was like, don't worry, I'm not worried about that. And so I didn't, it's not like I patted him down or anything like that. But
Okay. Did you let him in the front door that would be right next to your video doorbell?
I actually,
Leading.
Oh,
I can rephrase.
go ahead, rephrase.
What door did you let Mr. Brooks into your home?
I let him in the
Objection.
back door.
I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled. Go ahead, you may answer.
Yeah, the back door.
Okay. So he went around the side of the house to get to the back door?
That's right.
What happened when he got to the back door?
I don't remember exactly. I remember letting him in. Well, I remember, so I just got back hunting, so I asked him to go through the back door so I could make sure I didn't have any weapons laying around. And so after that was good, then I let him in the back door. It's more just to give me a second to make sure nothing was tempting or anything. But I let him in the back door, and I think I gave him a coat right away, and then gave him my phone, and then told him where to sit down. And when I told him to sit in the spot, he didn't move or anything. He stayed right there and listened to me.
What else did you give him?
I gave him a sandwich because he said he was homeless. And I said, I can get you some slippers to put on your feet to warm your feet up. I never did end up giving him slippers. But yeah, so I gave him a jacket to wear while he was at my house. I gave him a spot to sit and wait for the Uber and a sandwich.
You testified earlier that he was on the phone with his mom. How do you know that?
Objection. Speculative.
Overruled.
A few reasons. I heard him say mama a lot, and his mother called me, and I didn't answer, but his mom called and left a voicemail after the fact, confirming it.
Whose phone was he using while he was inside your house?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled.
He was using my personal cell phone.